Okay. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think is your comfort level with the game at this point?
Um, I'd say it's pretty good. The only thing I might be slightly unsure of, well, one of the things was during setup, which we're going to go through right now, is how many different realms or terrain types I'd want to include in a map. I know we're starting off with like two or three in the
Yep.
base, and you can add several of those after that. I know what a good setup for that would be. And is get down all lowercase?
Get down is all lowercase, correct, and one word.
Perfect. So there's that, and then uh, really some the clearer. I was flaming. I was reading it at 11 o'clock at night because that's how I roll. But what I was somewhat missing was a little bit on the wandering monsters, things of that nature, making sure those get populated properly. And the examples in the rulebook were good,
Yep.
but I just wasn't grokking it at that hour of the night for some reason. So
Yep. Totally makes sense. And the truth is remember that rule book. You should assume that is our Kickstarter level rule book. We do this so that we can collect feedback on it. What works, what doesn't. We'll have table of contents in it and or index. We'll have we'll put in some additional examples of things. So. Any feedback you have, we actually have a text channel here on the server called Rules Feedback, where would love to collect what you think. Okay, so
all right,
let me just explain a little bit about what's on screen and how it's in essence different than what you would have in the real world. We have right down here we have three piles of tiles. We have the mountain terrain pack, we have the cave terrain pack, and we have the woods terrain pack. There are 6 tiles in each. You'll notice that obviously there's a white text on these top ones, and that represents the fact that those are civilization tiles. The green text there is, and of course the two icons show that that's a wilderness tile. So when you're starting a game and you're playing just in regular sandbox mode, you would decide how many of these terrain packs do you want to use. If you wanted to play a short game, let's call that about an hour, something along those lines, you grab a terrain pack. If you want to play something more substantial, you could grab any number of these terrain packs. And you can grab them in any combination, and that includes if you buy the Desolation expansion, that adds 2 additional terrain packs: the Perilous Plains and the Sinister Swamps. So now you could have as many as 30 tiles and go with this truly epic experience. 2 game modes. I'm sure you folks understood that, or I'm guessing you folks understood that since you didn't ask any questions about it. But one is where you would mix all these tiles together, sort them out to everybody, and then literally start building the map. The other way is you would grab one of, and this is my favorite way to play, is you grab one of these, and let's just say we're going to start with this, and you just place it in the middle of the tile, and the rest of these are basically put in a big pile. And when you do an explore action, you can connect a tile off of the map. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to drop them all in this bag, which will randomize them. One of the advantages of Tabletop Simulator is this bag, for some reason, can hold these tiles. Right? Okay. Okay, so those are now in there such that when I pull one out, I'll get a random tile. I won't get necessarily the last one that I pulled in there, although I did twice in a row. Maybe I should check that to make sure that is set to random. No, random is what we want. Okay, cool.
actually, I did have a quick question on that because
Yeah.
while I was reading the exploration rules and you're going through the exploration phase or exploration action,
Yep.
it did say that you could put it either side up, enchanted or not. Is that
Yes.
something that's?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, is that something where that's going to be part of the game? Is it not? Do you have to, if you could choose to have something pre-enchanted, save yourself some magic later on, or?
So, yeah. In Dragon's Down, tiles are not enchanted. Neither side is enchanted. They're just
Oh,
two different sides. When you enchant a tile, right, you flip the tile to its other side, which changes the configuration of the hidden paths, and then you select, assuming you're the only way you can enchant is if you're a magic user. Let's say I'm the enchanter and I have yellow magic. I can place a cube on the tile, and now that is enchanted with yellow magic. If later the sorcerer comes along and enchants the tile, what happens is literally this yellow cube is returned, right? This is flipped over, and the purple cube replaces it. So you can have any magic in any tile, but no tile is magic just because it's on its other side.
Okay. I was bleeding over from the inspiration, we'll say.
Yeah, exactly. And so, for folks who haven't played it, Magic Realm is an inspiration for this game, and Magic Realm has predefined colors in the tiles. So if you're in a certain tile and you enchant it, it turns to a color, and you don't have control. I wanted to give more flexibility, obviously, to the various characters in the game, right? Okay, next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to come over here and look at the characters. Let's talk a little bit about these heroes. So in this mod, this is, again, the core game. So we have, for our lineage, we have humans, dwarves, elves, and halflings. There are 4 of each card, double-sided, so you can choose a portrait that you like. None of these, there's no difference. All the elves are the same, all the halflings are the same, all the dwarves are the same, right? And then we have these are the 12 classes that come with the game. Any particular opinions for you folks as to what we see in action?
Let's see here.
How about some magic users?
Okay, let's do somebody that's got magic. Sounds great. Why don't we do? Boy, there's some fun thoughts here. Okay, I'm gonna go against type. I'm gonna go with a druid, very fast, right? And we're going to choose. I'm going to be this Elven Druid is what I'm gonna do. Any objections?
None.
All right, let's go put this on my player board. All right, cool. Now, if we zoom in on this card a little bit and look at what the story is, I get 2 spells, I get a staff, and I get 15 gold, right? Now, I actually didn't create this mod. I've modified it, but the person who created it was pretty clever and basically came up with the concept of, instead of using the tokens, we can use these little trackers, which for Tabletop Simulator just makes it a little bit simpler. So we're gonna do that. So I get to select 2 spells. I also get these cubes, which I should have grabbed right when I was there. You'll notice that I get 1 green cube, and then I have a choice of a yellow or a green, and then I also get a 1 additional because I'm an elf. There are 2 advantages. For these characters, there's the druid's advantage and the elf's advantage. The one that probably matters right now is that the elf gets an extra spell. So I'm going to be selecting 3 spells. All right, let's go. Okay, let's go look at our spells. And oh, by the way, this elf. So I chose the druid. Again, they've grabbed the cubes for me. Remember, the druid can choose a green or a white. I'm actually, for my bonus, I'm going to choose a white instead of a green, and then for my bonus color, I'm going to choose a green for that elven cube, right? So we put those in our healthy box. I'm doing great on where those go. Okay. So then the spells I can choose from. Obviously, I can choose from the green and the white spells. I want to start with something pretty powerful. I want Druid, not very good at fighting. I'm going to choose this elemental spell because I want to be able to summon something to fight for me. Okay. Secondarily, let's see. I'm open to suggestions of you folks as well. If you can see what I got there. So worth noting, I have 1 white cube. So do you guys understand how these symbols on the spells work?
Not entirely.
Okay, so let's talk about that briefly. So let's say I get into combat and I want to cast this elemental spell right here, right? Remember, you have a limit of 5 cubes that you can play on any round of combat. If I take the alert action, that increases it by 1. So I could do 6 spells, or 6 cubes. In order to cast elemental, I have to spend 1, 2, 3 cubes. 2 of them must be green. 1 of them can be any color whatsoever. So obviously that's why I chose white. It satisfies it. After I cast it, whatever cube was in that box right there goes to my wounded box, and that's why there's the wounded symbol underneath it. Okay? Spells that are less powerful tend to have less requirements for cubes on them, right? And put another way, I can only cast this elemental spell 1 time before I would be in any kind of 1 per combat round, because I would lose. I wouldn't have those 2 green cubes left. Okay, let's do
maybe life armor.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good because I can cast that. And let's do calm. Okay, now I'll have to make a choice. Calm literally returns a monster to the monster tray, so that's pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna go down here and just put those spells by my board here. I don't want it in my hand. Okay, so there are my spells that I can cast. Okay, let's also come in here and let's organize this just a little bit. The other things, so I have 1 might, so I'm not very strong. I am pretty speedy, got 3 of those, and I have a lot of different options for how I can maneuver. My health isn't great. If I get hit pretty much by anything, it kills me, and I don't have any armor to start the game, so finding some type of protection might be a valuable thing. I do have quite a bit of gold, which is a good thing. Okay, so next thing I have to do is, just looking at this card, is I've selected my 3 spells. I have to grab my staff. Okay, and so I go to the items deck, which is over here, and we're going to search and grab a staff. And then let's give each of these a shuffle. All right, cool. And then I want to put that's a 2-handed weapon, so I have to put it in that spot where it takes up both hands. Okay, does that make sense? Any questions so far? Now the good news is there's only 1 more thing we have to do, and then we're ready really to get started. And since I'm starting here, we have to determine where the sanctuary is. And that is just a roll of a d6 to find a clearing number, right? And so it's in clearing 4. So we grab, oops, that's not that. This is it right here. And we put that in clearing 4. Okay, so those natives are in clearing 4. In this particular game, that's where I start as well. So there's 1 more thing we have to do, which is we have to grab 2 of these. Anytime you're in a civilization tile, you reveal 2 tokens, and those are the merchants that are available at that particular location. So at the sanctuary, there is a smith and there is a scholar. Okay.
Hey, Scott, I had a question about that. I thought that was as soon as the character lands in that tile, but are you saying they get placed at setup?
So these do not get placed at setup. So the place does, but I'm in the exploration game. I'm going to start there. So I'm just setting it up now.
Got it. Makes sense.
Okay, cool. So great. Let's go grab my tokens. I won't be needing. Well, I guess I will actually for targeting purposes, but I'm going to grab these tokens, put them here, and then I'm going to start at the mine. Okay, cool. Any questions
Hey,
so far?
Scott.
We're ready to start.
Well, another question. As I was playing through the other TTS mod, one thing that wasn't clear to me was if a wilderness token said empty, do you discard it from the tile or do you leave it in the tile?
If a wilderness... Oh, you mean one of these? I don't think there are any...
Yep.
Yeah. You leave it in the tile just to show that there are two there. And all that means is just to create some variability, right?
Sorry, it wasn't a civilization tile. It was a wilderness tile. So the red ones, essentially.
I don't believe there are any empty ones in the reds. We'll have to take a look at... Hey, George. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're just kind of doing a walkthrough of various of the rules, and folks kind of want to observe. So, yeah, I don't think there are any empty ones. There are items and treasures. The bottom line is you leave it in the tile. Is after you reveal it, you leave it, and that way you know that you only reveal one, red token per red tile. Okay.
Got it. Thanks.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since there's a scholar and a smith there, I could fill these, right? The scholar, and there's the smith right there, and the scholar is right here. I can fill these if I want. I like to just wait until somebody actually decides to interact with them. Why take extra time, especially in Tabletop Simulator where it's a little bit fiddly, right? In the real game, it's very satisfying to go count off the cards and throw them on the pile. In Tabletop Simulator, it's a little bit more fiddly. Okay, so we are now... hello, Gloznoff. Okay, so we're ready to begin with my first actions of the turn. And I'm going to do one last thing, which is I'm going to grab 4 of these cubes and put them down here. I'm going to use them for a variety of purposes. These mark status, and we're actually contemplating putting in where, see how you can, on the board here, you can mark that you've snuck or made noise or alert. We're probably going to do that on all these spaces, and then you get 4 actions. So every time you do something, you just move a cube. Okay, so what I'm going to do, though, is for my first action, I am going to explore right here and see what's there. So I pull out a tile and I find the Timberlands. I can rotate this as I wish. I want to put it this way, so that gives me access over here. We don't place a token immediately until I move in. So for my second action, I'm going to move to the Timberlands, to that space. So I've taken 2 actions. At this point, I grab a wilderness token and reveal it in the tile. And I got a site. So what we do when that happens is literally you leave this token there and you grab one of these tokens and place it in the space as indicated by the number. There is a shrine in location 4. So that's a pretty good start. With the small challenge that if you look at the shrine, which I've now highlighted on screen, you can see that the guardian of the shrine is the wraith. And if you look at those numbers on his, hey CH Hanger, how are you?
Hey, good. All right.
All right. Well, welcome. So if you look at the characteristics of that wraith, right? He's really fast. He's not someone I can run away from. So I'm going to want to be careful. Is the bottom line. Okay, so I've done 2 actions. Now, here's an interesting situation. I can't get to that right now unless I backtrack. If I were to enchant this tile, it would flip over, and you'll note that I still can't get to it if I enchant it, but if I move further, I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more move, and then I'm going to play it safe, and I'm going to sneak.
Hey, Scott. Scott, quick question.
Yep.
Did you mix all the site tiles together so then it's possible to get a caves or mountain site in this forest tile?
Nope. You do that with the civilization tokens just to randomize where the merchants are located, but you do not do that for the wilderness tiles. What will happen is in the cave and the mountains, there is a forgotten city in these mountains, and there is a dwarven runes in the caves. And when those are revealed, you grab 1 token from every other terrain pack in play, which means that's how you could get something that's normally in the woods in the mountains, for example. Does that make sense?
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. And feel free to ask questions along the way. So I've just done my 4 actions, right? I explored, I moved, and I snuck. Okay? So now it is time to roll the summoning dice. In a multiplayer game, whoever was the first player rolls these dice, and it's rolled just once, right? And we merely look at these right here to determine are any heroes in tiles with those matching symbols. Well, I'm obviously not in swamps, right? And the Timberland tile has the carrion symbol for owl bears on it. It does not have the claw symbol. So no monsters are summoned. So that's a good thing. Okay. Questions so far?
Another question, Scott. So in a game, I guess the game I was playing that had only the mountain terrain pack, really it's only 1 chance in 6 on this terrain die that particular one will summon any monsters. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
So there's two different things. I have a site token in here, which means that on the wandering die, which is this one, there's only a 1 in 6 chance of the monster coming, and that's if, in this case, I had rolled the woods right there. If I had rolled that symbol, then that matches, and I would have had, oops, that's a misprint. That should say giant spiders. I have to correct that. My apologies. I thought I had uploaded the fix. So if you look at the Timberland, it says dire wolves there. Dire wolves are actually the wandering monster in the plains. That is giant spiders. I thought I had fixed that, so my apologies. And then, there's a 1 in 6 chance of owl bears coming, and there's a 1 in 6 chance of the wraith coming. If I had rolled, if I had rolled that, then all guardians go to their treasure site. Okay, make sense?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, great. So here's what I'm going to do. I still can't get to that shrine, but I want to get to that shrine. So I am going to take an enchant action. And if you look on the enchant on the lower or the upper right of the board, it says for 3 actions, enchant the tile and flip the tile over to the other side. I also get to place a color cube there. I'm going to spend 3 actions. This flips over, and now I've got a path to the shrine. Okay?
Do you need to wound any cubes for that action?
I don't. As a matter of fact, I get to place a color of cube in here, and I'm going to place a green cube on this tile. This now means that I can cast all these spells, so I can cast an elemental with only 2 magic cubes, with a green and a white, and I can ignore that wound. There's an optional rule that says you cannot use it for a wound spell, but we're playing the regular game. So this is really cool. Now I can cast that elemental not only faster, but with less spell cubes. Okay, for my final action, I am going to sneak again just to play it safe, because next turn I either have a long journey or I can try to search for this path. And so let's just sneak. Roll a dice. And again, I got lucky. No monsters coming. I have an orc head and I have the mountains, so I'm safe. Okay. So I'm playing strictly base game rules here. There is a rule called an optional rule. I like keeping my games to have simple rule set and then expand them if you wish. In the expanded rules, the optional rules, there's this concept of if a tile is enchanted with a color that matches the color of a hidden path, you can freely use it as if it was a normal path. And oh gosh, wouldn't that be nice for me? But I didn't do that. So I'm going to just, you know what, let's search for that path. Let's try and save a little time, see if I can get lucky. So when you search, you designate a target. I'm saying that hidden path, and you roll the dice. 2 spyglasses would have been nice there. I got nothing. So I'm going to spend a second action searching for that. Jeez, who's the bad luck? Who do I need to boot from the server to give myself better luck on my dice?
Sorry, guys, I'll go now.
I assumed it was me.
All right, we're going to try one more time, see if I can get lucky. Wow! So the interesting thing here, right, is let's say I had rolled on one of those turns, I had rolled a spyglass. On subsequent searches on the same turn, I only have to roll this one. Okay? So I'd only have to roll my miss. I've now spent 3 actions, and yeah. I'm going to be bold. Instead of sneaking, I'm going to try and find that. Okay, so I got 1. The bad news is I failed 4 times. I don't get the benefit of that one on the next turn. Each turn is relatively synonymous with a day, and so I close my eyes and I sleep, and I don't remember what clues I may have found from the day before. So that was an unsuccessful day. We're gonna go. This is turn 3, and we're gonna roll these dice. And again, I got lucky, so thank goodness, right? No monsters come. It is worth noting that if you do want monsters to come, I'm not a big fighter. That's not really what my druid's all about. There's this concept of making noise, and you'll notice how these are overlapping. So you can't do both. Let me add a shadow to this. So if you make noise, you cannot sneak, which makes sense. If you make noise, what happens is, and let's say I had made noise that turn. After we roll these dice, we roll the dice and it applies only to the clearing that I'm located in. So we would roll these again and go, oh, you know what? This happened. Actually, sorry, to the tile, not the clearing. And so the guardian would have appeared at the shrine. He's like, what's all the commotion? I suppose that's like your dad saying, don't make me come back there when you're a kid, right? Okay, so we're now turn 4. I'm going to continue my futility and try and find that. Okay, there we go. So now I've found it. You'll note that we're about to unlock the Adventure Journal. The Adventure Journal is going to be a pad of specially printed, literally a journal. So you would just check off that you had found this particular path. For a little bit of color there, when I was a kid, I still have Magic Realm games I've played from 1980. In the turn record sheets that were with that game, and it's just a joy for me to go back and look at those. So I wanted to create that similar experience. There's a hope that when you're done, you kind of write out, think in RPG terms, and you write out what your character is, right? You come up with a name. I'm, Scott, the Elven Druid, finder of the shrine, slayer of the wraith, eaten by trolls, right? Whatever it might be. Okay, so I'm going to spend my second action to move to there. I'm going to spend my third action to search.
Hey Scott, on the if you say on multiplayer, if you find that and discover that, does that open it up for other players too, or does everybody kind of have to find that individually?
You have to find it individually. So I found it on with that third action of the day. When you find a treasure site, you would note that in your journal, and you get 5 fame, and you get 1 legend point. You're now think of of Professor Carter, who found King Tut's tomb, right? He's not known for anything else, but he is known for being the guy who found King Tut's tomb. It's roughly the equivalent, right? Now, let's say we were playing multiplayer and you were in the hex with me, right, or in the clearing with me, right? Mm-hmm. We can spend a trade action, one of us can, to swap items and information as we see fit. But I'm under no obligation to show you.
Gotcha. And so do other people have to find the secret path as well?
That's correct.
Individually?
That's correct.
Okay.
So, again, if you are a Magic Realm player, there isn't the concept of following or spying on people. The spy rules and whatnot added, I'm not joking, probably 6 pages of rules to Magic Realm, and that's not what this game's about. Okay, so great. I have 1 action left. What do you think? I'll go with the crowd here. Should I loot the site or should I play it safe?
Loot it.
Yeah,
of course, you're there.
No. I don't want to
grab your hands.
Ooh, that's actually really good. Okay, so a couple things I neglected to do. When you find a treasure site, that's when you fill it with treasures, right? And if we look at the shrine, there are 2 deep treasures and 3 treasures that go on that site. So we go 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2. And then we put it on the shrine. Okay? All right, so cool. Those treasures are now available to find. And so when you roll the dice, grabby hands counts as a 0, and you always take the worst result. That's a great result. I get the top treasure. So I just grab the top treasure, I reveal it. That's worth noting. Normally, right, this is done secretly. I look at it if we're playing a multiplayer game and we're being competitive. I wouldn't show it. Obviously, that wouldn't do much good for this particular session, would it? So I found the Bejeweled Helm. Number 1, it's an armor, and it's got a weight of 2, and that's what the red 2+ means. I always have, if I have that helmet on, I always have to play 2 might cubes, or else I am automatically hit by everything that targets me. Okay? It also has a defense value of 2. That's what the shield's about. It's valuable. That's the key thing about this treasure. Okay? It cancels 1 sharpness against me, and it goes on my head. So let's take a look at my druid. I could put it on my head. Does anybody notice what the problem is, though?
You're short on might.
What's that?
You're a little short for might.
I am, right? I'm so weak, I can't even wear a helmet. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that on my backpack. In my backpack. If it's in your backpack, the weight is ignored because it's face down, and so it doesn't affect me. Imagine your backpack. It's kind of a synonymous term for, or synonymous with whatever else you might be carrying. So if you step into battle, you kind of cast it to the side for the fight, right? It's also worth noting that this has a brown banner on it. And brown banner means it's a regular treasure, so I don't get any bonus for finding an epic treasure. I got more money. Okay, let's see. Oops, and I did not make noise or sneak this turn. So let's see how see if you guys killed me off here. Okay, so that matches because we are in a forest tile, and so the matching die says that 1 of the wandering monster for the forest comes. And again, sorry, I'll get that corrected before we release this, but that is a giant spider. In the Tabletop Simulator mod, all the monster bags are shown as tokens. We find our giant spiders, and 1 of them is summoned to the clearing. Okay, so that guy is right there. Now I have a choice. Let's pull this guy up and look at his stats. He's pretty fast. He doesn't punch that hard, but you don't have to punch me very hard to kill me, right? and he has a health of 2, and it's in a heart, which means it's unarmored. Okay? Now the other side of this monster, and it always, always, always comes into play on its named side. The other side is the back side. He bites really hard, but he's actually slower. And again, it doesn't matter which strength he hits me with. I only have a health of 1, so I'm dead if he hits me. Right? And in order to for sure hit him, I would have to spend 4 speed cubes on the attack. Let's drag this down for the moment by my player board so that we can look at my characteristics compared to his. So I can't auto hit him because I could even at most, only swing with a speed of 2. I can dodge him pretty well. I don't know. I'm not willing to risk it. This really isn't what I'm about, is fighting these guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to hide. I roll both hide dice. Now, I didn't sneak, which means that if either die shows a red symbol, we're throwing down. Okay, I successfully hid from the monster. Cool. When I'm in hiding, I have a couple of different options, right? I can just remain silent. Combat ends after 2 rounds where nothing happens, where nobody hits anybody. So I could stay completely silent and we just move on. This monster would remain in the clearing with me, and that sucks. I don't really want a monster in the clearing with me because now I have to hide during my turn, and if I fail, I lose the rest of my turn. So I actually do want to fight this guy, but again, I'm a proxy fighter. So what I want to do is I want to cast this elemental spell. Now remember, why is that over there? There we go. Okay. So one of those, the tile is enchanted with green magic. I wonder why it's not grabbing it all the way. Sorry, folks. Okay, so I spend 2 cubes, and the green that's in the green that's in the tile, right? Because it's enchanted right here, satisfies the requirement for that 1 green. So I didn't alert, so I can spend 3 more cubes. I'm hidden, so the monster is not attacking me. So the truth is, it doesn't even matter if I play these cubes, and it doesn't matter what the speed is. He's not attacking me. I'm not attacking him. I'm casting a spell from hiding. So great. I cast this to summon an elemental. Okay. And we come over here. I have elementals right here. And I'm going to drop all 4 of those in the elemental randomizer and pull one out. And what I've summoned is a fire elemental. So this guy is now in the clearing with us, and he disappears at the end of combat. And you'll notice, like on the elemental card, you can see those crossed swords. That says lasts until the end of combat. Okay? So great. I have an elemental here. Now there's one thing. I did something while I was hiding, which means I have to attempt to hide again. If I don't successfully hide, then... Ooh, that was close. Okay, so I'm still hidden. So that means these guys are going to go after each other. Okay? Now...
Hey, Scott,
yeah,
is your elemental also hidden if you're hidden?
Nope. Nope. When something is summoned to the tile, it is independent of you. You control it. Okay? Okay.
Yep, thanks.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, so looking at the characteristics, I can choose which side I want the fire elemental to be on. He's really slow on the attack and fast of foot, or he's kind of an average of both. Either way, no matter which side hits, if he hits, he's going to kill the spider. I think I probably want him to go a little bit faster on the attack. So I'm going to put him on this side, okay? And they just target each other. Now, one thing I could do, just for the record, is I could emerge from hiding. If I do that, then we would roll a die to see which of us the giant spider goes after. You just randomize it. So he might come after one or the other of us, right? So, okay. So, but I'm not going to emerge from hiding. I'm gonna just stay hiding, and I'm gonna let these guys do the work. So let's move this up here by the dice. Okay. And, okay, so now what we do is this. We first, they're targeting each other. Normally, this is where I would place my cubes, and then we roll a die for any uncontrolled monsters to see if they flip over. We roll 1 die per monster, and oops, and I rolled a red, so that flips over. So it was on this side, he's now on that side. That's probably bad, because if you'll notice, on this side, he does 1 damage, and my fire elemental can take 2 damage, so he would have to hit him twice. But because he flipped over, right, he kills him with a single hit. Okay, great. So these guys are squaring off. Let's look at what you do is you organize these by timing. The first number is the speed of attack. They're both 1. If they are tied for the number of the attack, there's on some monsters, there is a number printed on it that is a tiebreaker. That's the length of their attack. Obviously, both these monsters kind of strike with their hands or their claws or their teeth. So these both go off at the same time, so we'll do simultaneous attacks. Okay, so the attack speed of my elemental is a 1 to the defense, the maneuver speed of the spider of a 2, which means I don't auto hit. If the attack speed is higher than the maneuver speed, it automatically hits, and in this case, it's not. Okay, so what we do is we roll these dice to see if we hit, and we just roll both. You take whatever is the worst result. Where did my other die? Oh, cool. Okay, so the worst result is a hit. So it didn't matter what its speed was. If this speed was a 4, my hit would still attack. 3 damage to 2 damage kills the spider. We do still have to roll for the spider's simultaneous attack, so we'll roll those 2 dice. And we also got where it kills the fire elemental, which was going to go away at the end of combat anyway, so that's kind of a non-factor. That worked out great. We killed the monster. Because I was the one controlling that elemental, I get credit for the kill. I take the token as a trophy, and I receive 8 fame for killing the giant spider. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, great. Oops. I don't know about you guys, I have a little bit of lag in my game, so I think that's causing the subtle delays. Real quick, if we look at it... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask it. It may come up later. I might be here later. I was going to wonder if you had both you and your elemental in the attack, and you were attacking the spider. You roll to see who's actually the spiders are going to attack, but same thing. You'd roll for each combatant in the the melee, and then go from there.
Yeah. So if I had, let's pretend I had gone in there. I can't swing hard enough to kill the spider with 1 attack, right? Because the amount of damage you do is equal to the number of cubes placed on your weapons, so that I could only do 1 damage. I'm a lover, not a fighter, right? But what I could do is and let's assume it had gone after the elemental, right? I could have put 2 cubes in attack. I don't need any defense because he's literally not attacking me, right? And so this would have been the situation. My attack speed would have been 2, meaning my attack would go first. If I'd hit the spider with a strength of 1, and it had a health of 2, we would have placed a pink cube to say, now it only has a health of 1. So you can, in essence, wound a monster to death, right? And so, same thing if you were playing an enchanter, which is relatively the same as my druid, then 2 hits and we kill the spider. Teaming up can be a valuable thing to do. Hey, Fencer. Okay, great. So we killed the spider. All that, and we're back to turn. We're going to go to turn 4. That was turn 4, right? Okay, turn 5. I know where this site is. I'm going to loot it. Okay, I get the third treasure. So, hang on. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, Scott, I have a question on armor.
Yep.
Let's suppose that the armor that you looted earlier, that you could have actually worn it. And if you were in a fight and you got hit, does it matter that the armor's on your body or on your head?
It doesn't. Okay, so yeah, so real briefly on that. So our combat's a little bit abstracted, like where a hit takes place, right? So, oh my God, that's a great treasure for me to find. We'll talk about that in a second. So let's say I could have worn this and I had it here. Like let's say that was like a leather helmet or something. When I get hit, it automatically hits my armor. And let's say he does a strength of 1, which is not enough. Let's just pull this up instead of arrows. Not enough to destroy my armor, right? Strength of 1, the shield value is 2, so my armor is perfectly fine. But anytime you get hit by a monster, one of two things will happen. Either you will die or you will take a wound. So I would have to move a cube down here. It's unusable until I rest to get it back. This is the cube I want to move last. If you ever have 0 pink cubes in your healthy area, congratulations, you're dead. Right? Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. And real quick, so think of monsters as being dumb. They always hit your armor. If there is an optional rule that allows you to aim your attacks. And so if you, let's say you and I are throwing down in a real fight and I have a helmet, you can spend an action cube to aim your attack, right, at my body, thereby avoiding my armor. Okay? It slows down your attack, right, because that counts against your 5 cube limit. But yeah, still a way you can do that. Okay, let's talk about this treasure I found. It's not an epic treasure. I'd really like to find an epic treasure and get some points, but this is the Tome of Nature, and what it does, if you look at it, it's one-time use. That's the potion. It's infinite. It goes in your area here, but at any time I can spend this. This goes away, and I get a green magic cube, which is darn near the perfect thing for me. I'm gonna right now sit down and read my Tome of Nature, and I get an additional green cube.
Hey Scott, that was another question I had when we were playing. It came up. Can you use certain like these disposable items anytime?
So yeah, it varies a little bit. Like for example, I'd probably need to provide a clarification and rules on this, but yeah, there are ones that are used for combat, because they have like a target symbol on them, and then there are these which are when you're not in combat, as part of your actions. So I'll clarify that in the rules.
Thanks.
Ed, would you mind scribbling that down for me, please, if you don't mind? Just because I'm in the middle of it. Okay, so that was one loot. I'm gonna all right, a second loot. Okay, 5 and 2. Now this is actually the way the treasures are. Let's put these back on the pile. So I rolled a 5, and there are only 3 treasures in the pile, so I get nothing and like it because there's just not enough treasures. I'm going to search again. There's a lot of diminishing returns. 4. Again, I failed. Okay, I have a fourth and final action. And I am going to, you know what, we're going to go for the gusto and try and loot again. And I got nothing. So, yeah, that was loads of fun. I do like my tome, though, I'm not going to lie. Okay. Okay, so, again, no match on the monsters. This symbol means that as you move around the map, sometimes you leave monsters behind, right? This means if there are any monsters that are in tiles that don't have a hero, move them back to their setup board or to the monster tray. Okay. I don't like my odds. I'm law of diminishing returns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explore as... oops, let's go increase turn... Oh, right? I'm gonna search right or explore right there, and I found the Tri Peak.
Does,
Sorry.
Hey Scott. Hey
does
Scott.
the symbol also return dead monsters?
Nope. In Dragon's Down, dead monsters are dead monsters. You can clear out a tile and make it perfectly safe for civilization again. There actually will be some scenarios, or the plan is that there will be a scenario or two that actually has that as the goal, is you're clearing things out for civilization. Okay.
Hey Scott, I missed it earlier. How did you get your legend points?
When I found the shrine, when you find so it's on the card. I guess I kind of skipped that a little bit, but this is how you score legend points. So I was the first to find a treasure site. I received 1 LP and 5 fame. And then I got 8 more fame when I when my elemental killed the giant spider.
Got it. Thanks.
You bet. Okay, great. So I've taken 1 action to explore. I'm putting it this way because I'm lazy and I just want to spend 1 action to enter the tile. I'm going to randomize this and grab the 3rd one down just for fun. And that is another treasure site. I'm getting pretty lucky.
Hey Scott, sorry. You said you're being lazy, but are we normally supposed to be putting the tiles so that they touch no, 2 other tiles?
What I meant by you have to put it so that it connects, right? I just meant I wanted to spend 1 movement point to get into the tile, not 2, as all these others are mountains which require more movement. So when I said lazy, what I meant was I wanted to only spend 1 movement point, and that's why I put it that way.
Got it. And because you're playing the exploration game, you only need, it doesn't have to touch 2 of the tiles. It can just touch 1
That
other
is
tile.
correct. That is correct. Great observation. So I've come upon this, right? And you'll see it's the catacombs. Let's go take a peek at the catacombs real quick. The catacombs are right here, and that is the Death Knight. 7 treasures. That sounds juicy. I've taken 2 actions so far. Let's search. All right, who do I got to kick out of the server again? Remind me. Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of Death Knights. They're pretty tough to kill. So I am going to sneak as my final action, because what I might want to try and do is summon an elemental to fight that guy. So I want to make sure I'm hidden if he arrives. Okay. The symbols are the stench and the mountains. I don't have stench or mountains in play, so we're safe, and I didn't need to do that. Okay, great. I'm going to search again. I got clues. Okay. So now I only need to re-roll this die as my search. 3rd action. Come on. Honestly. All right. Ugh. I didn't find it, and I didn't sneak, so I should probably remove this cube. At the beginning of the turn, you remove all those cubes, so it resets. All right, let's see what happens. Anybody see the problem?
He's coming.
The Death Knight comes for me. Okay, so he comes to the location. I didn't sneak and I didn't alert. Anyone want to
hey
roll?
Scott.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've got another question.
Fire away.
Is this a mountain tile or a cave tile?
This is a mountain tile.
Okay.
Yep.
Is the crypt a? Oh, it's also a mountain thing. Okay.
No,
For some reason, the crypt.
So it's the catacombs. We're in the catacombs. So to be clear, the site tiles right here and the civilization tokens are always mixed together. So just because the catacombs are in the cave terrain pack, you can still get the catacombs anywhere.
Got it. Yeah, sorry, I thought I asked that earlier, but it makes sense now. Thanks.
Yeah, it was a little bit different. What you asked before, just to make sure I answered the right question, was you had said, hey, can a mountain token arrive or end up in a woods tile. And I guess I took that to mean these are wilderness tokens, and they will always appear in in red tiles, with the exception of the Forgotten City and the Dwarven Ruins.
Yep, yeah, I got it now.
Yeah, site tiles can be anywhere. Okay, great. So he's arrived. I don't know about you folks. Anybody want to roll the hide dice for me? All right.
So yeah, these ones, right?
Yep. That way, if I die, I can blame somebody.
Uh,
All right, you're good. You're a good
I'll be
man.
of assistance.
Oh, lucky.
That was I appreciate your die roll. So I'm hidden. So do we want to fight the Death Knight? What do you think? And what I mean by that is summon an elemental to do the fighting for me.
Yes.
I think I do too, right? I mean, it'll be entertaining. Okay, so let's pull the Death Knight down here. Oops, and let's rotate him that way. Okay, so we got the Death Knight, right? I'm gonna do the same thing I did before. By the way, let's look at my various spells here that I have. So I could cast Life Armor, right? And that would protect me, give me a suit of armor. That's not a bad idea. I might do that next turn. Elemental, we can do that again and grab him. And Calm. Calm returns a monster back to off the map to the tray. You'll note has no effect on heroes, guardians, or the undead. So you cannot calm a Death Knight who is both undead and a guardian. Okay, and you'll note that the little skull symbol next to the cube spaces is a shorthand way of saying this does not impact the undead. Okay, so I am going to do this. You will note that I am no longer in a. I'm going to do this just to make it easy on me. Come on. I am no longer in my enchanted tile. So I have to spend 3 cubes to do this. Okay, one of which will become wounded. So great. Again, speed doesn't matter, so I'm not going to even bother spending those other cubes, right? But I do wound this cube. The other 2 get returned to my player board.
A question about enchanting the tile, because I didn't see that, but didn't you lose a cube when you enchant a tile?
Nope.
Don't
you grab
you?
it from the supply. Yep.
Oh, you grab it from the supply. Okay. Right. Thank you.
Okay. Great. So, so I have summoned an elemental, and somebody want to grab that too? Better luck than me. What elemental comes? Or should I just grab it? Right up there. Pull something good.
He's back.
All right, he's back. You know what? Let me make sure this is randomized now I look at it. Oh, no, it's not in. It's not randomized. Throw that back in. Okay, and then draw one more. What do we get? All right, we got an Earth Elemental, which is good in that he's strong. He's also kind of a moron. He's really slow. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, this will be fun. Actually, this will be a good example. I'm going to stay hidden again. I'm not going to step out to fight the Death Knight. And the main reason being, you'll note that the Death Knight is 4 and armored. But this guy, the Earth Elemental, does 4 damage if he hits, and he doesn't have any kind of he doesn't have any sharpness to him, so the armor is immaterial. If the Earth Elemental hits the Death Knight's dead. Now, on the flip side, you'll see the Death Knight, if he's on his front side, he actually doesn't kill the Earth Elemental with 1 strike, because he does 3+ damage. That's 3 plus 1 is 4. But the Earth Elemental is armored, and that would make it 3 damage. So we're okay. All right.
Would the Earth Elementals also take wounds?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So if he gets hit twice, he's dead. Also note that if this guy flips over, he's dead, right? Because 4+. So I'm going to leave him on this side. You'll notice the Earth Elemental, not the most deft of foot. He has only a 1 for his speed or a 1 for his attack, and other than that. So we're going to go this side and hope we get lucky. Okay.
Can you lure him and go out of the shadows and attack him as well?
We are playing with no optional rules. There is an optional rule that allows, if I had wanted, I could have stepped out of hiding and lured the Death Knight, and because the Death Knight's foot speed is only 1, I could run away. So, not a bad idea for next round. Okay, great. Yep. We will roll 1 die. Oops. 1 die to see if the Death Knight flips over. He does not. Okay, so I always put these in order of attack. The attack speed here is 2, and here is 0. So the attack speed of 2 is faster than the maneuver speed of my Earth Elemental. So it automatically hits and does 3 plus 1, but because the Earth Elemental is armored, -1 for 3 damage. Okay, 3 damage is not enough to kill the Earth Elemental. And so, like we said before, anytime something gets hit, it either dies or takes a wound. So the Earth Elemental's new health is only 3. So if he doesn't kill him this round, the Earth Elemental is probably going down next round. Okay. Somebody want to roll a hit dice too? They're right here.
Oh, so the monsters also work like this? So, for example, if a monster has 4 HP and I'm doing 3 damage, he takes a wound, but the next damage I do will kill it.
So what each wound cube is the equivalent to lowering its health by 1. So now this has a health of 3. If it got hit by another attack but it didn't kill it, it would have 2 cubes and it would have a strength of 2. So you can play, again, an optional rule called Tough Monsters, which is monsters don't take wounds. And if we were playing with the Tough Monsters rule, that would apply to this guy too. He's a monster. That's what the red ring means. And so he would be okay. Okay. Now, the Earth Elemental missed. We take the worst result. Thanks. Who rolled that?
I used my luck on the hiding. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Erlen, that was you. All right. Hey, pronounce your name for me one more time, please.
Erlen?
Erlen. Okay, got it. All right, Erlen, you failed me. So I demand as reparations that you go buy an all-in copy of the game. All right.
Oh, okay. Too late. I can't buy 2.
All right. Okay, there you go. All right, you're forgiven. And much more. Okay, so great. So at the end of round 1, my elemental has taken a punch to the face, and that's not great. Okay, so let's go turn combat round 2. So just for sake of example, I am going to step out of hiding. And so now we're playing straight base game rules. There's no such thing as me luring the monster. But what I can do is, what is going to happen is the Death Knight might target me every single round we roll a die to see who he targets. Okay? So let's grab the D6 and bring it out here. Okay? And let's go 1, 2, 3. He goes after the Earth Elemental. 4, 5, 6. He comes after me. So the Death Knight is targeting me. Okay? Now you may go, well, why did you do that? I'll explain in just a moment. Okay, so the Earth Elemental is going to target the Death Knight. What I'm doing is I'm buying 1 more turn for my Earth Elemental. That's the short answer. So you'll note that the foot speed of the maneuver speed of the Death Knight is 1. So all I have to do to run away, to evade, is what I call it, to evade, is play 2 cubes down here. So I'm going to go 1 and 2 in my maneuver speed, and I am going to run out of the clearing. Okay. There we go. Now, this will be the final round of combat, because if a caster has summoned a monster and is no longer in the clearing, the monster dissipates. But I do get my 1 attack. I'm just hoping that this guy can get lucky. Okay, so great. We roll to see if this guy flips over. He does not. So the attack is a 0 against 1. I'm not there anymore. Poof. So the Death Knight doesn't swing at anybody. Go ahead and roll the dice again. Let's see if you can redeem yourself.
Oh, really? Man.
All right, the pressure's on. Yeah, negatory. Okay, so again, and I think I even say that on the card. Yeah, I don't. I gotta make sure that's on there. But because there's no longer the caster in the clearing, the elemental goes away. There's nobody controlling it anymore. Okay, so this was returned to the bag. And this
An unrelated question: if I was shapeshift as the elemental, for example, when the same rule apply, of course, right? If I took a wound, my life goes to 3, and if I take another wound, I go to 0. But do I die or do I revert back to the caster?
Yeah. So. And just make sure it's clear, you can't shapeshift to an elemental. But if you had shapeshifted to a monster and fought, yeah, if you get killed as a shapeshifted monster, you die. Yep.
All right.
So you have to make your decisions wisely. So there's a really cool purple spell that allows you to become one of these monsters here. You can become any of these monsters, right? You shapeshift into the shape of something. And so what's cool about that is, if you turn into a griffin, you can fly to another tile because they have flight. Or if you, if you're this giant spider, remember the giant spider, as you may recall, has this really kick butt attack here that kills literally anything it hits. Right? Now you're kind of weak, you're an unarmored giant spider, but it's really a cool spell. Okay, cool. Okay, let's go back to where we are. We now are, so here's the situation at the end of turn 7, is I'm in between clearings, and the Death Knight is hanging out at his catacombs. Now, my first action has to be a move. I can either move to here, or I can move to there. Okay? We're going to take our chances, and we're going to move to here. Now, the minute I arrive in the clearing, and let's go over here, it's turn 8. The minute I arrive in the clearing, I have to attempt a hide reaction. Okay? And I was successful. If I had rolled, if one of these had been one of those symbols, I didn't have the opportunity to sneak. I had to move, right? So if I had, hey Pablo, if I had rolled that, he would have blocked me, and I would have lost the rest of my turn. But because I'm hidden, and what I do then is I mark that on my player board that I am hidden. I can go about the rest of my turn and even avoid combat at the end of the round. So I'm going to spend one action searching. So that's my second action. Good Lord. Hey, why don't you roll my searches?
Who?
Erlen, why don't you roll my searches? You're like...
No, I'm good at hiding.
Yeah. Okay. So I have one action left. Let's just re-roll the 1 die. And note, if you push the R multiple times, it will roll it. It'll really spin it. Okay, there we go. Cool. So under the nose of the Death Knight, I have found the catacombs. Okay, so I get a legend point and I get 5 fame. Cool. I'm all the way to... Now, I don't know if you guys remember this from the rules, but if I were to go back to Civilization and retire, I convert fame into legend points at a 10-to-1 ratio. So technically, as long as I'm not a carcass, I have 3 legend points right now. Not nearly good enough, but I'm on my way. Okay, cool. Let's roll.
Hey, Scott, thanks for the demo so far. I got to drop, but
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for joining. Okay, you want to roll a summoning dice too? Carolyn, you're like doing better than me.
That's way easier. All right.
Yeah, that was terrible, however.
Oh, well, I thought it was easier for me.
Well, you see what happened, right? Because remember, I'm in a mountain tile.
So it looks like you get 3, what are those? Ogres and...
Nope. So the matching symbol is the dragons.
dragons. Oh, that's right.
So I get 3 juvenile dragons who show up in addition to the Death Knight. So let's just talk about this real quickly, and I'm going to rotate these so that they're facing the right way for us. Okay. So here's the interesting part about these juvenile dragons, right? Is there's 3 of them. They're a little bit faster, so I have to spend a 3rd cube if I want to run away, right? Because I have to be able to run away from the fastest monster. Thank God I chose to be a druid, because a druid can run away if I need to. Now, remember, I took a hide reaction earlier. Once you're hidden in a clearing, you're safe from all monsters. So these 3 juvenile dragons merely add, they're there along with, let's move this and let's just make this a nice tidy pile. Okay. All those monsters are at the catacombs with me being very silent in the shadows. Okay. But because I'm hidden, I can freely ignore them. I don't have to do combat if I don't want to. Again, I could spend an action or I could summon another monster or whatever I wish to do. But you'll note that I'm down 1 cube. I'm actually going to avoid that and wait. Okay. So now we're in turn 9, and the first thing
Another question.
Yes.
About spell. There is a spell called Affliction, which is a dark spell, a black spell.
Yep.
And does it target everybody in your tile, or does it's only one target?
Let's take a look at it. I'm 97% sure if that's the one I'm thinking of. Let's look. Affliction. Yeah, so the target symbol on the right says it targets only one other monster, right?
I see.
So where this spell is useful, this spell is interesting. So the main reason for this spell is if you don't have a weapon or if you don't have a good weapon, you can cast a spell to it's the equivalent of literally hitting somebody with one might, right? So you can cast it very fast. And cause damage, and note that it causes that, and so it could actually kill somebody, right, if they only had 1 health. So, yeah, it's actually an annoying spell if you're a barbarian. It's a terrible spell if you're a druid, right? Okay.
I see.
Okay, great. So that's that. It's turn 9. The first thing I'm going to do is I snuck. Right here, I snuck. And the reason I snuck is after 1 action, all the monsters in a clearing will attempt to block you. I am unhidden at the beginning of my turn. Don't know if I removed the cube. Yeah, I did. Okay, which means I have to now attempt to hide. Okay? And so let's just roll it and see what happens. Okay, so I'm hidden. I have 3 actions left and I can do whatever I want. It's as if the monsters aren't there. So in this case, I'm going to attempt to loot. Actually, Erlen, why don't you loot for me? Worth noting when I got oops, not the shrine, the catacombs here. When I located it, I should have put in 5 treasures and 2 deep treasures. So let's grab those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 7. Roll well for me. I need luck. All right.
You got something.
I got something. Let's just move these off to the side for the moment. 3, 4, and 5. And then put them back. This is where Tabletop Simulator doesn't give you the sheer joy. When you get a treasure, wait till you do it in real life. When you count down with your hands 3 treasures or whatever, it's really awesome. Okay. Tome of the Black Arts. So this one will allow me to, it gets me a black cube if I decide to do it. I'm not going to do it just yet, and the only reason is I might want to sell that for 13. I don't have any black spells. Maybe I'll find a spell book that's got some black spells in it, and I'll want it. But right now, don't need it. Okay, let's loot again, Erilyn, if you don't mind rolling for me.
I still selected those? I have, all right.
That's a good roll. Okay. So the second treasure. Ooh, this is a good one. Okay, so a couple things happen. First off, it always treasures always get placed wherever the little symbol shows. In this case, it goes on a miscellaneous spot. This is an epic treasure. That's what my arrows are a little bit off, but that's what the red means. So I get an LP and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fame according to this chart, right? If you reveal an epic treasure. Now, if we were playing a competitive game, I don't have to reveal that if I don't want to. But in this case, I could reveal it, show it to you all, and then put it in my backpack, keep it face down. Nobody knows I have it. The cool thing about this spell is if I had a blue powered cube, or if I was in a tile that had blue magic in it, was enchanted with blue magic, I can convert, and I can use this anytime, but it's a permanent change. So I could use this Tome of Black Arts to get a black cube. I could use a blue magic, which I don't have, but I could use a blue magic to convert it to a white cube, and suddenly it's really useful to me because now I'm able to cast, this life armor very easily. I can already cast it, but I could have another white cube. So that gives me some flexibility for the future if I find something cool. Okay, I think I have one loot left. Why don't you go ahead and do me solid here?
Got the wrong thing. And after this, I'm afraid I have to pop off as well. But here's hoping for a good roll.
Yeah, send me out on top. Okay, we're going to do it. Why is it? Oh, I see. That is not. This is actually a bag, not a. Sorry, not a chit. Bear with me. I gotta get my treasure back out. There we go. Okay. All right. And this is the fourth treasure right there. So let's put these back on. All right. And the deep treasure goes on there too. And you found me the Potion of Maneuver. So potion.
I can run away faster. You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, here's what this does. This is actually a pretty good one. This gives me an extra. This is just like those tomes, but it gives me an extra speed cube. I'm going to spend that right now, and I get an extra speed cube, which could come in handy. Because if you look, if I'm not alerted, right, I can spend 5 cubes in combat, right? I can now spend something on my staff for might and spend 4 other action cubes to either swing or dodge or whatever. So I'm a little bit better as a fighter now. So I do thank you for your service.
Do what I can. And last question before I take off. There's no limit to the number of cubes you have, right? It's just a matter of how many you can use in a turn?
Yep, it's a limit on how many you can use in a turn. So the other thing that these are doing for me is they're making it so that I can take more wounds. If I can ever find some armor that I can use, this would actually be pretty beneficial to me. All right.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you.
Thanks for joining, Erilyn.
It was a pleasure.
All right. Cool. Okay, so we're back here. We got to roll the summoning dice. I don't have my die roller, so I'll go ahead and roll them. Okay. The monster is already at his site, so he would move to his site. So it's worth noting. Let's pretend that something had brought the monster to me in the mountains. If we roll this, he moves back to his treasure site. He goes back to guard it. Okay.
Wait, he returns to guard and not follow you. It's the opposite. When you activate the monster, does he return to the chamber and not
nope.
where you are?
Yeah, let's make sure I explain that correctly. With Guardians, when this symbol is rolled, and I'm only talking about Guardians, when that symbol is rolled, the monster goes to his treasure site. So if this large stack, let's say, was here, and this was the roll, the good news is that the Death Knight would leave. He returns to his lair, so to speak.
But how he would follow you if you can never activate him?
So if we roll the ogre's symbol or the juvenile dragon's symbol, all the monsters in the tile move to wherever you are located. So they will follow you around the tile. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
So that's how. So there's actually, and the reason for that in game terms is there's actually a strategy of a character like a druid, right? Where you move over here just to lure the monsters over here, and then you run back, and none of the monsters are at their treasure site. Because what you might not want to do is risk, getting killed, obviously. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to spend 2 movement points to go here, and then I'm going to explore here. Okay, for a third action. Okay, so I'm going to put this differently. I'm going to put it like that. And then for a fourth action, I'm going to move in. So we're going to be bold. Grab this. And it is an item. So in that case, I just draw an item off the top. I found, well, this isn't great because I found the breastplate, which, hooray for me, I'm still not strong enough to carry it. I have to play 2 or more cubes each combat round while I'm wearing the breastplate, and I only have 1 might cube. So we should put this...
Wait, you do have 2. You have 2 might cubes. One of them is in your weapon, isn't it?
One of them is my weapon.
No. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I only have... I'm a druid. I only have 1. Yep. They wanted to see how magic works, so I chose a character. I purposely chose a character who's kind of weak. Okay, so that was turn 10. Let's roll the dice. Okay, treasure site and swamp, neither of which exist in here because I'm in woods. So no monsters come. Turn 11. Okay, I'm gonna take a moment. And I'm going to do 2 rests to get that one back. Or I should explain that better. I'm going to do a quick rest. 1 action, one action, but it takes 2 of my actions, my action points to do it. And then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move to this. Note that that's a swamp. Let's zoom in on that real quick. And that's a swamp. Swamps cost 2 to move into, so those are my 4 actions for the turn. All right, let's roll the dice. And do I match? I do. Gnolls are coming. Hey, and I have a typo for you that shouldn't say direwolves. That should say giant spiders. I corrected that, but I obviously didn't upload it. I'll correct this mod and make sure you get it. Okay, so I have 2 gnolls appearing in my tile. All right, so cool. 2 gnolls. Let's look at gnolls. Let's look at what they are. So gnolls are pretty slow, but they punch really hard, right? So they appear in the clearing. Let's just put them in there. And I am going to attempt to hide. And the reason I'm going to attempt to hide is I'm going to have somebody else fight them. Ugh. Okay, so I did not hide. So we're throwing down. Now, I will note, I am fast enough that if I wanted to run away from these guys, I could. But let's just have a big old throwdown and see how it goes. Let's have fun with that. Okay. So, round 1 of combat. They're both going to be targeting me, and they have an attack speed of 0, and if they flip over, they have attack speed of 2. So it seems to me that I'm going to want to cast, or I'm going to want to at least have, 3 cubes in my maneuver, right? And the reason being is it's harder to hit me. I'm faster than them regardless of whether they flip over. The second thing is I can play 2 more cards, or 2 more cubes, which means I can't do elemental because I don't have, this isn't an enchanted tile, but I can cast, you know what, we're going to cast life armor. Life armor will give me a fighting chance to actually kill these things. I could cast calm, and if I hit the monster, it goes away. It just literally disappears. But we're going to do life armor. Okay. So now we roll the dice to see if those guys... Let's go grab my dice up here. So I'm going to roll 1 die for each knoll to see if it flips over. This one will equate to that one. Left to left and right to right. So the guy on the right flips over to this side. So I'm going to organize these in order of attack. He's first. Then you'll notice that he has a speed of 0. I have a speed of 0. This guy has a speed of 0. And so you then go to the length of the attack. He is attacking with a 8, which is a battle axe. My length is 44, so the order of attack is going to be first knoll, then me, then second knoll, which means that if the second knoll hits me, my life armor will be in effect. If the first knoll hits me, I'm dead. Okay, so let's roll for that first attack. If we roll a hit symbol here, that's the end of our sample game. Okay, so he misses. You always take the worst result. So he misses me. Second thing that happens is this gets wounded. This returns. Okay, and I am now, and now I have this armor around me, which is there are little cardboard tokens that I don't have in the tabletop simulator. But I have, no weight. I have a strength of 2 armor. I'm just going to use the card to represent that. Okay? Okay, great. And then let's see if this other guy hits me. He misses me. Again, the worst result. So cool. That worked out pretty well. I'm now, I now have a fighting chance. I'm probably not going to go great, but okay. So great. Let's do the second round. I want to try and get rid of one of these guys. So I'm going to cast Calm. Okay, on one of these. And then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this. I want to do this fast. And I'm going to target this knoll right here because it's an auto hit. Right? So if I can make that guy go away before he even swings at me, that's a good thing. Any questions on what I've done so far? Does that make sense?
Don't you have to... Doesn't it count as your limit of cubes? So you won't have enough to hit the guy?
Correct. I'm casting Calm to get rid of this guy, and then I'm going to battle it out with this guy with a staff. The problem is I only have 1 might, so I got to hit a knoll 3 times to kill it. So to me, I want to get rid of one of these guys. Otherwise, I think I'm dead. Okay, so let's roll.
So you're not attacking them right now. You're just casting the spell.
Correct. I'm casting the spell. This is pick a target. Sorry, let me zoom in on the card here. This says pick a target, that little target symbol. So I place my targeting token on this guy. That means I have to hit. So I'm casting this. I'm spending those 2 cubes. And I'm casting it with a speed of 2. So we'll be comparing my speed of 2 against his maneuver speed to see if I hit him or not. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to roll these 2 dice. This, again, the left one corresponds to the guy on the left, and Son of a gun. Okay, so this guy flips back over. That's bad, because if he had stayed on this side, our speeds are 2 of his attack and 2 on my attack, but my 42 length is longer than his 0, and therefore I would have sent him back home automatically. But because he flipped over, my speed, let's go down here, my attack speed of 2 does not automatically hit his maneuver speed of 2. And by the way, so I should just so that you understand what I'm doing is, this is the new attack order, right? I go first. So I have to roll the hit dice and hope I get an equal sign or better in order to get rid of him. My spell fizzles and misses him, so he's safe. Both these guys are going to attack me. Worse, I cast that spell, I have to wound a cube that I used to cast it. Okay, their attack speed is 0. Sorry that those arrows aren't exactly on. I have a maneuver speed of 1, so they don't automatically hit me. Let's roll for the first Knoll. He needs 2 hit symbols, and he hits me. So he does a damage of 3 plus. My armor cancels one of those, so it's now 3. That's enough to destroy the armor because it has a strength of 2. So that just spell is returned to me. Oops, there we go. That spell is returned to me. And if this other guy hits me, I die. Now I did get hit, so I have to wound a cube. I'm going to wound that cube right there. Okay. Let's roll for the second Knoll. And so ends our excursion today. So he hits me with a strength of 4. I don't have any armor, so that's a strength of 4. That equals or exceeds the number of pink cubes I have in my healthy box, thereby killing me. So if we had the journal and all that, so what happens, let's just go through this. First off, I lose half my fame because I died. And that's rounded down. So I lose 23, I lose 11, so I'm at 12. The rest of this gets converted to legend points at a 10-to-1 ratio. So I have 2 fame left. Okay, so my ending score is 4 LP. You keep the fame in case there's a tie. If we were to play this game competitively, right, and somebody else has 4 LP as well, then, fame is the initial tiebreaker. Okay? So in this case, I died. I was known, I'm, so-and-so. I didn't come up with a name at the beginning, but let's say it was Borrowman. I'm Borrowman, the elf druid, wielder of the magical bowl of mixing, reader of the tome of nature, drinker of the potion of maneuver, slayer of giant spiders, and, Knoll meat. Right? That's kind of what I am. So... there you go. That was an entire game. I went 4 tiles is all in that particular game.
It was good. It was a good run.
It was a short run. It was a good run. Anyway. So
Well, I was misinterpreting the rule and thinking that they would return to the bag when you use the summoning die. And now I'm wondering if when there are multiple people, because you can play it with 6 people, that you very quickly can eliminate all the monsters around the table. So how do you manage to balance that?
I'll start with the phrase. Our playtesting hasn't shown that. Our playtesting has shown that you can clear out some tiles, no doubt. That typically only happens if you, together as a team, really team up to try and do it, because it's really difficult. Like, you look here and you go, we got 3 juvenile dragons and a death knight. That's a formidable force, right? And so it's a viable strategy to go, oh my god, and I'll give an example here. Let's say we had pulled the Forgotten City. Let's say we had pulled the Forgotten City in here. What that token says is you pull 1 additional tile of each type. So you would go, there's this, there's another site in there, there's a third site in there, right? And so you would then say, okay, the horde is in 6, and the altar is in 3. So now you have the potential for there to be a great drake, juvenile dragons, ogres, the death knight, and the demon, all in this one tile. That's pretty juicy from a treasure perspective, but I would caution you against going alone, right?
I see. Yeah, I understand.
So the entire intent here is, you're right. There might be times where, because of the way the summoning works and whatnot, you kill off all the, kill off all the owlbears. This tile now, the only thing, if you kill all the owlbears, this Timberlands tile, and again, remember that should be spiders, not direwolves. The only thing you'll see there are spiders, right? And if you, and the wraith in this case, because the wraith comes to the shrine.
I see. Well, I played only solo and with some people on the tutorial level, so
Yep.
I don't have the experience to know if it's really that. But as I played, sometimes you get a character really going, and it's very easy actually to kill an entire race of monsters really quickly. For example, there is the Fire Chasm spell. So if the monster doesn't fly, you kill everybody.
Yeah, remember that it has to hit though. So if it doesn't kill everybody unless your attack speed it has to hit. So the challenge with that particular spell is the warlock, who is a character who can cast it, can't cast it very fast, right? So yeah, so you have to roll. You have to get lucky with your hit dice, and it takes 3 cubes, so it's hard to cast it fast. And even if you can cast it fast, you get 1 shot, and then you might be sitting duck for the anybody that survived. Yep.
You can ambush right from you casting spells. You can ambush, so you can.
Yep. Afterwards, you have to roll to stay hidden. By the way, great work on this mod. The only errors I found in it so far are mine, so I'll get those corrected.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. Can I ask some questions?
Fire away.
The first is something that my friend Casey Ben, he's the designer of the legendary tiles for Magic Realm.
Yep.
He pointed out that printing the type of monster that can show up in a tile,
yep,
might make it less variable down the line. And I was thinking that it is a good trade-off that you did this for the core game, that it's printed here, you have to write less rules. But down the line with expansions, this might change, and you might have, instead of the printed one, you might bring some cheats that will randomize what type of monsters show up in a given tile. Yeah. So I was just thinking, if you have contemplated that, then
yeah. So that was a trade-off for. That was a trade-off made for ease of setup and the ability to get into the game quickly. You probably, you weren't here at the start. We got into the game not counting explanation. We were into the game in 5 minutes, right? So not having to set up various tokens and stuff is actually a pretty nice little advantage. That said, let's make this successful, and we'll worry about whether whether chits or something make sense for some expansion in the future to give more variability to the players who really want those kinds of experiences. Right now, I think you'll have you're coming at it from the perspective of somebody who's played a lot of Magic Realm and the most advanced versions of Magic Realm, and this game is largely meant for getting in quickly and is meant to bring people who have never experienced the game into this style of game.
Yeah. Well, I just hope it gets enough success so that you can have both worlds, huh? Easy, approachable game, and that with expansions and added optional rules becomes, the experience, the Magic Realm kind of type of experience that we we love to have as well, you know?
Yeah, and you know that same answer applies to the folks who have said, well, I really want to be able to hire natives. Well, you know, if we included everything that's in Magic Realm, right, you'd end up with a game that's more complex than what we want. And again, this was inspired by Magic Realm. This is not a remake of Magic Realm. It clearly has roots in the game, but you know, it is a fundamentally different game, and I'm not trying to recreate what Magic Realm was. I'm trying to recreate the feeling that you get when you play a game like Magic Realm, because there's literally nothing out there that does it.
Yeah.
Okay, other questions?
I have another question about the mission deck.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, I saw it's 18 here. Okay, sorry.
Yep. I added in all the core ones. I have more work to do. Obviously, I got to correct my woods tiles. So I'll get this corrected and then I'll get it over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Well,
Yeah.
Great, amazing.
So Pablo is the person who I took my kind of nucleus of a thing and made it into this amazing mod that's so organized. I love this section over here where all you kind of you pay attention over here at the start of the game, and then this largely goes away, other than maybe you'll need a cube or two. But that was really clever to do. Okay, other questions specific to the game itself. This is being recorded, by the way, so we'll make this available to folks after the fact.
Nice.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, if not,
So
then we'll shut it down. I have a hard stop in 8 minutes, so if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But
Well, I think I'm good for now. You have taken all my questions.
you have put me through the ringer, Pablo. You have put me Fencer. You too. Like I was online with these guys, at least with Pablo, late night.
I hope we can, the three of us or the four of us or any number, can play a session at some point during the campaign, maybe next week or something. That would be.
There's another live session on Monday, and obviously we'll need players. I'd like to do a 4-player game.
Yeah, we want to play the game. We want to, like, I don't want it to be me playing and folks watching. I want to get 4 players, and I'm not playing, right?
Oh, let's do it. I mean, I'll volunteer myself, but if there's 4 other players, I'll be as happy just to watch 4 players playing as just me playing as well.
So we published those in Discord, the Discord channel server, and we published those on the campaign as well. So the times of all the sessions. So we'd love to have you. Great.
Hopefully these videos, make people look at the Kickstarter and maybe decide to back it up.
Yeah. If you have anybody that's on the fence about it, let them know. We'll be showing off the game. I think it's Monday at 3, I think.
I think Monday is the evening session, if I'm not mistaken.
What was that?
I think Monday is the evening session, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it the evening? Oh, yeah, it's 8, right?
Yeah, so we are doing Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern time. We're doing a live playthrough. We are then doing a Q&A session on Wednesday at noon Eastern. And then on Thursday of next week, we are doing at 3 p.m. Eastern, we are doing another playthrough session. So,
yep.
Let's get in there. All right. Hey, thanks everybody. Always great interacting with folks who have some passion for the game. So, thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Yes.
Thanks, Scott. That was great.
All right. Take care, all. Bye-bye.
Yeah.